The night before my father sent him on a dangerous mission, I slipped into his room through the window. I offered him my first time, but I never expected him to want me too.
If I make it back alive, Serena, I'll marry you.
But 3 years later, he came back covered in scars and knelt before my father.
Victor, I want to use the credit from this mission to ask for Lily's hand.
Everyone expected me to lose my temper, but I only lowered my eyes and meekly called her Aunt Lily. For 3 years, I rejected countless marriage alliances while I waited for him. Now, I pulled one proposal from the pile at random and agreed to marry. My father had 7 sworn brothers, and Rowan was the youngest and best. Looking of the 7 men I called uncle. My father once said that if he had known about us earlier, he never would have sent Rowan away. Of all 7 uncles, Rowan, a wolf shifter, was the best fighter. If he could not make it back alive, sending any of the others would only get them killed. But 3 years had already passed.
Miss Moretti! Mr. Hale is back!
My eyes flew open, and I ran outside barefoot. I ran so fast that the rain soaked the hem of my dress. When my father's 7 sworn brothers looked at Rowan, their faces held both anger and relief. I did not understand where the anger came from.
Dad, what happened? Why is he kneeling?
Rowan glanced at me once as if I were no one important. Then he lowered his head.
Victor, Lily and the baby are innocent. I don't want them to suffer because of me. Please, Victor. Please, Serena. Let us marry.
For a moment, everything became clear. A girl carefully stepped into the hall from the rain. Her belly was already visibly swollen. Her voice trembled as she knelt before my father. My father silently turned the ring on his finger. Rowan had not expected it to be this difficult to ask for her hand. After all, our relationship had never been public. But he had forgotten something. I had told my father about us long ago. Otherwise, I could never have turned down every marriage alliance. Everyone in the hall looked at me with pity. I was the Moretti family's only daughter, a white cat shifter. But everyone on the estate knew better than to cross me. Uncle Mason stepped behind me, trying to comfort me. I raised a hand and stopped him. My eyes never left Rowan. 3 years had aged him. A deep scar cut across his brow. He walked with a limp. Even the edge of one wolf ear had been torn.
Uncle Rowan risked his life for the Moretti family. A man like that shouldn't be left kneeling.
My father waved a hand.
Dad, isn't the first Saturday next month a good date? Let Uncle Rowan and Aunt Lily get married then.
My father choked up, while several of my uncles lowered their heads in silence. Only the 2 people standing in the rain held each other and cried. Because the first Saturday of next month had originally been set as our wedding date, Rowan had returned. But I was not the woman he wanted to marry. When I saw the tenderness in his eyes as he looked at Lily, I frowned.
Did everyone lose their voices? Show Mr. and Mrs. Hall some respect.
Congratulations, Mr. Hale!
Congratulations, Mr. Hale! Congratulations, Mr. Hale!
I turned and walked away under my umbrella. I could feel everyone watching me from behind. Uncle Mason
Serena,
hurried after me.
I'm sorry.
I pushed open the door to my room. The marriage proposals from the past 3 years were piled in every corner.
Uncle Mason, one of these men, would be the most valuable ally.
With the Moretti family's position, any marriage alliance would only be a bonus.
Then which one is the best looking?
When Uncle Mason hesitated, I pulled out a proposal at random.
Damian Vale.
You should choose someone else. Why?
A lazy voice drifted in from outside the window.
Because he has a terrible reputation. All he knows is drinking, partying, and wasting money. Everyone knows he's a useless playboy.
I looked him up and down, then glanced at the marriage proposal in my hand.
You look better than your photo.
You little bastard! You dare climb the Moretti estate wall? Do you want to lose a leg?
Uncle Mason, I'll choose him.
At my words, Dorian sat up and studied me.
Settle things with Mr. Hal. In 7 days, I'll come pick you up for the wedding.
Then he jumped down from the wall.
You little bastard! He really is a useless little bastard!
Not completely useless. At least he hears things quickly. If he knew about them and me. He was not as useless as everyone thought. That evening, I found Rowan waiting for me on the covered terrace. He sat across from me and dismissed the staff with a single glance. I sipped my tea and looked through a business report. Then I asked casually,
Is the baby hers yours?
Rowan said nothing. He silently peeled a few lychees for me.
Miss Moretti.
A bodyguard approached the table, then noticed Rowan.
Mr. Hill, sorry to interrupt. Miss Moretti, the information you requested has arrived.
The photo on top was of the girl Rowan had brought home that day. I leaned back and lit a cigarette. Rowan could no longer sit still.
I'm sorry, Serena. Meeting Lily made me want a quiet life. She can wait, but the baby cannot. I want to give them a proper place in my life. I don't want my child to be born without a name.
If you wanted a quiet life, you shouldn't have come near me in the first place.
Rowan took an antique gold coin bracelet from inside his jacket.
You liked these 3 years ago. I searched everywhere before I finally found one for you.
Rowan pressed his hand over mine. His gaze darkened.
You think a bracelet is enough to make me let this go? Did you just meet me today?
Without hesitating, Rowan knelt before me.
I'm sorry. My life is yours. Can you let her go?
I smiled and stood up. I took one final drag from my cigarette but could not find an ashtray. Rowan lifted both hands helplessly. His gaze was unreadable. I crushed the cigarette against his palm.
Then die.
Rowan stared at me in disbelief.
Is that how you fooled that girl too? Uncle Rowan, if pretty words could solve every problem, the Morettos would not be where we are today.
I got up and headed toward the private dining room. A bodyguard hurried after me.
Miss Moretti, your things.
I took my purse and noticed that he was still holding the antique gold coin bracelet.
It's worth something. Keep it.
Thank you, Miss Moretti.
My uncles greeted me warmly when I entered the dining room. As soon as I sat down, Lily took my hand.
My dear niece, I heard you and Rowan are very close.
I also heard that you are the only person he listens to. Once we get married next month, you should still visit us as often as you did before.
Her smile was gentle, but there was something defiant in her eyes.
Serena, we should exchange numbers.
She pulled out her phone. The lock screen was a photo of her and Rowan. Then she tapped her forehead.
Oh, I almost forgot. My phone broke, so I'm using Rowan's old one for now.
She opened the contact list and smiled at me.
He didn't save most of the names in here. Which chat is yours, my dear niece?
Several of my uncles across the table had already realized that something was wrong. I glanced at the screen. It really was Rowan's old phone. Since she wanted to know so badly, I did not mind telling her.
Of course he saved my name. He saved me as baby.
Lily had not expected me to say it so shamelessly. Her face darkened.
You two really were close. Is this the one?
She held up the phone for everyone at the table to see. The screen was filled with messages I had sent Rowan. I had asked about his situation. I had told him how much I missed him.
My phone broke, so I've been using Rowan's old one. My dear niece, maybe your uncle never saw these messages. Should I send them to him?
Rowan walked in at that exact moment. I glanced at the bodyguard behind me.
Take the phone to Rowan.
Yes, Miss Moretti.
The bodyguard took the phone from Lily and handed it to Rowan. When Rowan's gaze fell on the bracelet around the bodyguard's wrist, he froze.
Where did you get that bracelet?
Miss Moretti gave it to me.
I could not read the look in Rowan's eyes. He pulled out the chair beside me and sat down.
Sitting here might make it difficult to explain yourself to your fiancé.
If I sit anywhere else, I'll have to answer to you instead.
He stayed beside me throughout dinner, occasionally serving food onto my plate. Near the end of the meal, he suddenly asked,
Why give away something you like?
Are you talking about the man or the bracelet?
This time, Rowan said nothing. I could feel Lily's frustration. I noticed her hands clench several times, but I did not care whether she was happy.
3 years later, and you're still this spoiled. It's time you found a husband to keep you in line.
I'm finished. I wiped my mouth, picked up my purse, and left the table. He thought I was upset. The truth was, I would probably be married before him. The front hall was already filled with gift cases. My father sat at the head of the room, checking the engagement gifts against a list.
Are these for me? There are so many.
Rowan lowered his head and gently stroked her hair. Several of my uncles began asking about their wedding plans. I almost believed that my father had prepared all of this for Rowan. Then the butler hurried over with a smile.
Don Moretti. Miss Moretti, Dorian Vale is here.
Rowan turned around and looked confused.
What is he doing here? The Morettis rarely deal with the Valles.
Suddenly, Lily braced a hand against the wall and gagged.
Rowan, I don't feel well.
Rowan's expression changed immediately, and he hurriedly led her away. The Vales entered with their men. Dorian was wearing a burgundy suit. He even shot me a wink. My father greeted them with a smile.
Come, sit.
Why are the valets here? Why does Victor look so happy? Do you know what's going on?
Except for Uncle Mason, my other uncles could only smile awkwardly at one another.
Serena chose Dorian Vale, and his family is here to ask for her hand.
My uncles exchanged doubtful looks.
Want to take a walk?
Sure.
Dorian led me toward the back garden. He looked around with obvious curiosity.
Rowan, what did I do wrong? She is the Moretti family's precious daughter. Her family will always protect her. But what about me? What did our 3 years mean? She is doing this on purpose.
If Serena were truly trying to hurt you, you would never have the chance to marry me. Don't say anything like that again.
Dorian suddenly stopped walking. He turned to look at me, his eyes lighting up with interest.
Are you tired? Why don't we sit down?
He headed straight for a stone table beneath the cypress trees. I doubted he was tired at all. He clearly just wanted to eavesdrop.
Rowan, why did you change the moment you came back? Ever since you returned to the Moretti estate and saw Serena, you've been acting strange. Are you only being careful around her because you're afraid of Victor? Or are you still in love with her?
Rowan fell silent. I lowered my head and looked through the wedding dress options on my phone. Dorian had good taste. Every dress he had picked looked nice.
I don't love her. She is only my niece.
Don't think I don't know what you did while looking at Serena's photo yesterday.
I slammed my palm against the table. The two people nearby looked over in shock, but Dorian immediately jumped to his feet, clearly eager for gossip.
What did Mr. Hale do while looking at Miss Moretti's photo?
I glanced at Dorian. He obediently fell silent.
Serena,
Uncle Rowan, if you cannot control your woman, that is your problem. But if one word gets out that embarrasses the Moretti family, my father will clean it up for you.
Rowan did not answer. Instead, he looked at Dorian.
I didn't think Serena would have anything to say to someone like you. She must have fallen pretty far in the past 3 years.
Dorian smiled.
Maybe Miss Moretti likes men like me.
Rowan glanced at me with absolute certainty.
She has always been proud and only wants the best. A useless playboy like you is not worth her attention.
Dorian raised an eyebrow and nodded. No wonder my father always said never to speak too soon. I took Dorian by the arm and led him back. When I returned to my wing, the staff were laying down a wedding runner outside my rooms. Ryan's rooms were next to mine.
Change it.
Why? Don't you like seeing me in white? I always liked bright colors. But you said you liked white, so I've worn it for 3 years.
I froze. I was the one who liked white. When I returned to my room, I stared blankly at my closet. Every dress inside was white. I did not understand what Rowan was trying to do, but the answer no longer mattered. The walls between our rooms were thin. I fell asleep listening to them argue. The wedding dress Dorian had made arrived the day before the ceremony. Rowan came to see me that same night.
Can I come in?
It's late. That wouldn't be appropriate.
Rowan had been drinking, but after a brief silence, he walked in anyway. He sat down at my bar and instinctively reached for a bottle of red wine, but his hand closed around a bottle of whiskey instead. Rowan frowned.
Since when do you drink whiskey?
3 years is a long time. People change.
Rowan drank straight from the bottle, his movements growing unsteady. But in the dim light, his eyes still held in lucid gleam. He took my hand and slowly pressed my fingertips against the scar across his brow. His arm trembled.
Why don't you ask whether the past 3 years have been hard on me?
I gently traced the scar.
With Lily by your side, how could they have been? You went to a lot of trouble to marry her, Uncle Rowan.
They told me the first Saturday next month was supposed to be our wedding day. Is that true?
I smiled coldly.
You already knew the answer when you came here.
Then I added,
Now the date is yours. You should go. I'm not in the mood to have you here.
Rowan drained the last of the whiskey and staggered out of my room.
My wedding is postponed. I will never use that date.
No matter what he said tonight, it was already too late. At dawn, the cars would arrive to take me to my wedding. He was so drunk he might not even make it to my wedding. The next morning, I stepped outside in my wedding dress and ran into Lily. She looked at me with interest.
So today is your wedding. Congratulations.
Your uncle drank too much last night. I'm afraid he won't be able to see you off.
My dear niece, do you really think a woman who lusted upon the man she called uncle can find true love and live happily ever after?
She smiled as gently as ever. I walked over to her, raised my hand, and slapped her. Everyone from the Vale family and the 2 uncles who had come to see me off quietly turned away.
You! How dare you!
Lily had not expected me to hit her in front of so many people.
The Moretti name can afford my temper. It would take some effort for my life to end badly. But yours? I wouldn't be so sure.
You're insane. I'm your elder. Hitting an elder in public would be disrespectful.
But you seem to have forgotten something. Without me, you would never have been welcomed into the Moretti family. You would never have been able to marry Rowan. The wedding has not even happened yet. What kind of aunt are you? You think you can stand in front of me and put me in my place because of the baby in your belly? That child may carry the Hale name, but it is not a Moretti.
Serena Moretti! Rowan let you get away with this!
I raised my hand and slapped her other cheek.
I'd love to see what he plans to do about it.
I snapped my fingers.
Let's go.
Outside the estate, Dorian was pacing anxiously beside the car. The moment he saw me, he pulled me into the car.
I thought you ran away.
We haven't done the send-off yet.
Dorian glanced back at the uncles, seeing me off.
Sorry, gentlemen. We'll have to skip some of the formalities.
We need to leave before someone comes to stop the wedding.
The dashboard lit up, and the car sped away.
He was drinking last night, and even if he were sober, he wouldn't.
Dorian raised a hand.
I wouldn't be so sure.
A few minutes later, my phone rang unreal number. When the caller tried a second time, I answered.
Hello?
Serena, do you have a minute?
No.
I just woke up to all the noise outside.
Someone actually said you were getting married?
The staff need to watch what they say. Rumors like that shouldn't be
I
spreading.
am getting married today. Would you like to come to the wedding?
The other end of the line fell silent. For a moment, I thought the call had dropped. Then I hung up. But by the time the car reached the main road, Uncle Mason called.
Serena, Rowan went after you. We couldn't stop him. He is driving like a madman. He may already be.
Before he could finish, a battered SUV came tearing toward us. I spoke calmly into the phone.
I see him.
Dust exploded behind the SUV and spread across the road like fog. When the dust finally settled, Rowan was standing in front of the wedding car. I turned back and placed my hand over Dorian's.
I promised to marry you, and I'm going home with you.
I know. I just didn't expect this much trouble.
He opened the door, and we stepped out of the car together. Rowan looked calm. But beneath that calm expression, a storm raged in his eyes.
So it really is you.
He gave a bitter laugh.
You're marrying him?
Is there a problem?
Rowan strode toward me and grabbed my arm.
You're too young to get married. How could Victor go along with this? How could he let you marry a man like him? Come home with me.
I pulled my arm free. I hated the feeling of his hand on me.
I'm the same age as Lily. She is already pregnant. And you still think I'm too young? There is nothing wrong with Dorian. I don't know where the rumors about him came from, but if you ask me, you're far more disgusting than he is.
There was something frightening in Rowan's eyes.
You wanted to know about Lily, didn't you?
I almost didn't make it back alive. I crawled out of a pile of bodies and spent 7 days half dead in a cave. I thought I was going to die. Then Lily found me. She was wearing a white dress, and the blast had damaged my eyes and dulled my sense of smell.
The blast had injured my eyes and dulled my sense of smell. I mistook her for you. That was what kept me alive.
Rowan's voice trembled. His eyes were red.
By the time my senses recovered, she was already pregnant. I had no choice. I thought I could build a quiet life with her. But when I saw you again, I realized I had underestimated how much I loved you.
He told the story as though it explained everything. It only made me sick.
The Morettas have 12 rules. We don't care how it happened. We only care about the result.
Come home with me, please!
Rowan turned his gaze toward Dorian.
I will never let you marry a man like him. Never!
He pulled out his gun and aimed it at Dorian's head.
Either come home with me, or I'll kill him and drag you back myself.
Dorian surprised me. A gun was pressed against his head, yet the calm on his face did not look forced. Most people would have panicked. Dorian only stood there. He looked so relaxed that Rowan and I seemed like the unreasonable ones. I stepped in front of Dorian. Rowan drew in a sharp breath. The anger in his eyes gave way to something wounded.
Serena, you're driving me insane.
Before I could answer, Dorian took my wrist and gently pulled me behind him. Then he stepped forward and stood between Rowan and me. Dorian tapped a finger against his temple.
If you're going to shoot, Mr. Hal, do it. If not, we have a wedding to get to.
Rowan's finger tightened around the trigger. For a moment, I thought he might actually pull it, but he did not. His expression darkened, then faltered. When he looked at me, the pain in his eyes made him seem almost broken. 2 black SUVs stopped behind him. The doors opened and several of Rowan's men stepped out. Rowan pointed at me.
Take her back. Tie her up if you have to.
The men started toward me. Dorian lifted one hand. His gaze moved slowly across their faces.
Every one of you works for the Moretti family. You live on Don Moretti's money. You carry his guns, you stand on his territory, and now you want to put your hands on his only daughter?
The men stopped.
Mr. Hale may survive Don Moretti's anger. You won't. You know the Don better than I do. Think carefully.
The men exchanged uneasy looks. None of them took another step. Only then did Dorian turn his attention back to Rowan.
You know, Serena gave you a chance. When you came back to the Moretti estate, everyone was waiting for you to ask for her hand. But instead, you chose another woman. A man as smart as you must ought to do, Mr. Hal. You could have left Lily somewhere safe, settled things with her privately, and returned to the Morettos alone. With the credit from your mission and a marriage to Serena, your future would have been secure. You could have had everything. Let's say I allow you to take Serena away today. Then what? You bring her back to the Moretti estate? You explain to Don Moretti that you pointed a gun at the man his daughter chose to marry?
You can threaten me on the side of the road, but you cannot steal the bride, Jersencha Yoru Dofungbein, to go with you. And more importantly,
Serena does not want to go with you. If she refuses, no one can take her anywhere.
Rowan's men remained frozen in place. Then Dorian's driver stepped out of the car.
Sir, your father called. The ceremony is about to start.
Dorian turned away from Rowan as if the gun no longer mattered. He opened the car door for me.
If I'm marrying her, any time is the right time.
I got into the car. Dorian closed the door gently. Then he looked back at Rowan.
I'll keep what happened here quiet. If you decide to come to the reception, have a drink, you'll be welcome.
Before getting in, he glanced at his phone and raised an eyebrow.
What is it?
Dorian shook his head and gestured toward the driver.
Go.
The car pulled away. Only after we had driven some distance did Dorian turn to me.
Mr. Hale won't be coming to the wedding. Lily heard something and became upset. She started having pregnancy complications. She is already on the way to the hospital.
I looked in the rearview mirror. Ron had just answered his phone. A second later, he hurried back into his SUV. His car turned around and sped in the direction of the Moretti estate.
Your information travels fast.
Dorian leaned back against the seat.
Not bad.
That was an understatement. Dorian's connections reached far beyond what I had imagined. He probably had eyes and ears across the entire city. When we arrived at the venue, white doves circled above the city skyline. Fireworks burst across the sky in brilliant colors. They continued for nearly an hour. As fountains of sparks rose along the aisle, I slipped my arm through Dorian's and walked with him toward the wedding platform. The guests lowered their voices as we passed.
How did Dorian Val get lucky enough to marry Don Moretti's only daughter?
He is useless. He cannot even arrive at his own wedding on time. What else can he possibly do?
Before the last man could finish, 2 Moretti bodyguards stepped forward, covered his mouth, and dragged him away. The music never stopped. Most of the guests pretended not to notice. I glanced at Dorian. He only smiled and continued walking. His terrible reputation had probably been built this way. Everyone thought he was useless because he never bothered to defend himself. Or perhaps he simply preferred it that way. The ceremony went smoothly. At the reception, Dorian moved easily between the tables, greeting businessmen, family allies, and men whose names carried weight across the city. He looked relaxed. By the time I had changed out of my wedding dress and returned to the reception, he was still making the rounds. I walked over to join him. Dorian stopped me.
You should rest.
Are we not greeting the guests together?
I can handle it.
Won't people think I'm being rude if I don't greet the guests?
Dorian glanced around the room.
Your father is Don Moretti. Who would dare criticize you?
What about you? Won't they criticize you?
My reputation is already terrible. A little more gossip will not hurt. Go rest. I'll find you later.
I returned to the family table beside my parents. My mother immediately took my hand.
Why are you back already? Dorian said I've been on my feet all day and should rest.
He knows how to take care of his wife.
Then she looked across the room.
He should stop drinking too. I don't want him making himself sick. Dorian!
Dorian immediately excused himself from the men around him and hurried over.
Yes?
Sit down for a while. Victor, you can introduce him to the rest of the guests later.
My father nodded. Dorian picked up a glass.
Before I sit down, I'd like to toast Serena's uncles. Thank you.
One by one, Dorian drank with each of my uncles. Rayan was the only one missing. My father seemed pleased with his new son-in-law. After the toast, he took Dorian with him to meet several important guests. I stayed at the table, eating and listening to my uncles tease one another. My mother nudged me gently. Then she leaned closer and lowered her voice.
Rowan asked your father to postpone his wedding last night. He said he would never use the date that was meant for the two of you. Lily's pregnancy was in danger earlier, but the doctors managed to save the baby. Your father plans to arrange a house for them outside the city. They won't return to the estate and disturb you again.
All right.
I looked across the room for Dorian. He was standing beside my father, speaking to several guests. As if he sensed my gaze, he looked over. Then he raised an eyebrow at me, deliberately pulling a ridiculous expression to make me laugh. I lowered my eyes and smiled. By the time the last guest left, it was already late. Dorian brought me upstairs himself. He opened the bedroom door and stepped aside.
You can rest here tonight.
I looked at him.
And where are you sleeping?
Dorian leaned against the doorframe. The teasing smile on his lips returned.
That depends on whether my wife plans to let me stay.
Dorian's smile faded slightly. For the first time that day, he looked serious.
Serena, if you need time, I'll wait.
I studied him for a moment. Everyone in the city said Dorian Vale was careless, but a careless man would not have understood what I needed without being told. I stepped aside.
Come in.
Dorian entered and closed the door behind him. The room was dimly lit. My wedding dress felt heavy after an entire day. Dorian walked over and stopped behind me.
May I?
I nodded. He carefully loosened the buttons at the back of my dress. His fingers moved slowly. When the last fastening came undone, Dorian lowered his head and pressed a light kiss against my shoulder. I turned around. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then I reached up and pulled him toward me by the collar. His eyes darkened.
Serena.
What?
If you do that again, I may stop behaving.
You have never behaved a day in your life. Dorian laughed softly. Then he kissed me. I wrapped my arms around his neck and kissed him back.
You can laugh.
I'm not laughing.
You're thinking about it.
Dorian covered his eyes with one hand.
It only happens when I let my guard down.
First time in 3 years, I slept without waiting for anyone to come home. Making a choice requires courage. Sometimes, when fate refuses to give you what you want, you have to choose for yourself. Obsession is a fire that can trap you if you let it. I would never allow myself to remain inside that fire. I had made my choice. Lily had sent me a photo. In the photo, Rowan was sitting beside her hospital bed, his eyes bloodshot and his concern impossible to hide. See, he still chose me. In his heart, the baby and I matter most. You can never beat me. I looked at the words and laughed coldly. Then I tossed the phone aside like trash. Dorian's eyes darkened slightly.
Do you still care about him?
No, it only disgusts me now.
The smile in Dorian's eyes spread completely. He lowered his head and kissed my fingers hard.
Then from now on, only look at me. You only need to care about me.
I reached up and caught one of his fox ears. Then my fingers slid down his cheek to his chin. I lifted his face like a queen looking down from her throne.
If you ever betray me, I'll drag you to hell myself.
Don't worry. I plan to cling to you for the rest of my life.
Dorian leaned lazily against the headboard and claimed me without shame.
Because Serena is my wife now.
Then he dropped the phone onto my lap.
Your choice.
After that, he got up to pour me coffee. I picked up the phone, my voice colder than ice.
Uncle Rowan, what do you want?
There was a dead silence on the other end. When Rowan finally spoke again, jealousy and madness almost crawled through the line.
Did he touch you?
What right do you have to ask me that now? As my uncle? As my ex-fiancé?
Or as the father of Lily's unborn child?
Rowan's breathing turned rough with pain.
Serena, you know I would do anything for you.
Don't ruin your life just to punish me. You don't even love him. Darian Val is a useless playboy.
A joke. You marry a man like him, you'll destroy yourself.
You don't know him. And after all these years, you don't know me either.
Dorian came back with the coffee and stood beside me, relaxed, as if he were watching a ridiculous show.
I watched you grow up.
How could I not know you? You were always proud, like a princess. Anyone who saw you would fall for you.
But you didn't, did you?
Rowan choked. He could not say a single word. I watched the steam rise from the coffee. My thoughts went back to the past. Rowan had watched me grow up. When I was little, he was the most handsome and strongest uncle in the family. He would carry me on his shoulders. He would hold me in his arms and play with me. Back then, I was truly obsessed with him. But after I grew older, that innocent obsession changed. It turned into something secret, something shameful. I often watched him after training. His upper body would be bare. From that day on, I started avoiding Rowan. Whenever he looked at me, I lowered my head and pretended not to notice. I was afraid my eyes would betray me. Later, I went to college and dated a boy named Evan Hayes. He was an ordinary wolf shifter, but his eyes looked a little like Rowan's. I didn't love Evan. I was only using him to suppress my dirty, insane obsession with Rowan. During those years, my father often sent Rowan out on missions. Sometimes he disappeared for weeks, sometimes for months. I saw him less and less. I thought that, if enough time passed, I would forget him. Then one day, Rowan came back and he found out Evan existed. He pinned me against the wall.
Evan Hayes.
His eyes were so dark, he looked ready to tear me apart.
That's who you chose? He is not good enough for you. You are the Moretti family's princess, the Don's daughter. You deserve someone better.
I lowered my eyes and did not argue, but what I really wanted to shout was, "You are the better man." I did not dare. The next day, I went to school to find Evan. He was kneeling in front of me, covered in blood. One of his eyes was swollen shut. His wolf ears were pressed flat against his head.
Miss Morelli, I was wrong. I had no right to want you. I'm nothing. I won't bother you anymore.
My first relationship was torn apart by Rowan, just like that. After I found out Rowan had gone to Evan himself, I finally became sure of one thing. Rowan could get jealous. Two, Rowan may have liked me too. So on the night before he was sent on that deadly mission, I climbed through his window and entered his room. That night, Rowan tore away every mask between uncle and niece. He claimed me like he had been holding back for years. I thought our forbidden love had finally seen the light. I forced my father to agree to our marriage. I rejected every top marriage alliance. I waited for him for 3 years, but what happened in the end? The first one to break his promise was Rowan. He came back with another woman's swollen belly. That was the answer he gave me.
I have moved on, Rowan.
I said every word into the phone, cold to the bone.
The Morettos do not pick up trash.
Then I hung up, blocked him to done. That night, news came from the estate. Lily had caused a scene in the house outside the city. She demanded that Rowan marry her in 2 days. For the sake of Rowan's past service to the family, my father still gave him enough dignity. He approved the use of a private chapel under the Moretti name. He also prepared a house and a security detail. The night before the wedding, I returned to the estate to visit my parents. When I walked out and was about to get into the car, rain was pouring down. Rowan stood in the storm. His entire body was soaked. Rain washed over the scar across his brow. He just stood there, staring at me with despair in his eyes. Rowan took one step toward me in the rain. His voice was forced beyond recognition.
Serena, I'm getting married tomorrow.
I did not even want my shoes to touch the rain. Standing under the porch, I laughed coldly.
Then congratulations to you and your white rabbit bride, Aunt Lily.
The words Aunt Lily stabbed him like a knife. A vein jumped at his temple. He rushed forward and tried to grab my hand. But before he could touch me, an umbrella cut between us. It blocked him from my sight completely. He looked at the drenched Rowan and smiled with open mockery.
The groom-to-be comes to block my wife in the middle of the night? If word gets out, people might think the Morettas have no rules.
Get out of my way, you useless little parasite!
Then he looked at me.
Serena, are you really going to degrade yourself by marrying a man like him?
I stepped forward and took Dorian's arm. Then I gave Rowan a look filled with contempt.
Who I marry is my choice. You're free to marry Aunt Lily, aren't you? Then go to her. Not me. Dorian, let's go.
The car sped away. Muddy rainwater splashed across Rowan. He stood alone in the storm and darkness. Like a stray dog no one wanted anymore. The next day, Rowan and Lily's wedding was held in a private chapel under the Moretti name. No important guests came. Only a few of my uncles sat in the pews with cold faces. Dorian came with me. He wore a black suit and stood beside me lazily, as if he were only here to watch a show. Lily was in the dressing room. Her white rabbit ears were hidden under the veil, and one hand rested on her swollen belly. When she saw me, she smiled.
My dear niece, after today, we will truly be family. I hope you can finally learn to let go.
Dorian laughed. Lily's face stiffened. Then Dorian took a sealed medical file from inside his suit jacket and threw it onto the vanity. Rowan had just walked in. The moment he saw the hospital stamp, he froze.
Miss Lily, your medical records make for an interesting read. The child in your belly is already past 4 months. But you only met Rowie 3 months ago. So whose child is it? It can't be his.
The room went silent. Lily's face turned white. Rowan stared at the file. His hand slowly tightened. Rowan rushed forward and grabbed the file. His eyes locked on the estimated conception date. His whole body began to shake. Lily reached for his sleeve.
Rowan, don't listen to him. He is lying.
Dorian raised an eyebrow.
Then call the clinic.
Lily froze. That silence was enough. Rowan turned to her slowly. His eyes were red.
Is this child mine?
Lily's lips trembled. She could not answer. Rowan's face twisted. At that moment, everything became clear. Back then, he had been badly injured. His eyes had been damaged. His sense of smell had been dulled. Lily had used his injuries and lured him into bed. And after that, she forced him to take responsibility for another man's child. Rowan turned to me.
Serena, I was tricked. I love you. I loved you all along.
He dropped to his knees and reached for my dress. I stepped back. There was no pity left in me.
I told you before. The Morettis only care about results. You brought another woman's child back to humiliate me. You pointed a gun at my husband. You made me call her Aunt Lily. Rowan.
I looked down at him.
You are finished.
The chapel doors opened. My father walked in with armed bodyguards.
Rowan Hale, you betrayed this family. From today on, you lose all Moretti protection. Get out of this city.
Then my father looked at Dorian. For the first time, his eyes held open approval.
From now on, Dorian Vall will sit beside me in every core operation.
As you wish, Don Moretti.
Rowan and Lily were thrown out of the city that day. 3 months later, I heard news of them again. Rowan had lost one leg after his old enemies found him. Without Moretti protection, he had not lasted long. Lily stayed with him because she had nowhere else to go. She screamed at him every day, cursed him, cursed me, cursed the child that had failed to buy her a rich life. Rowan never answered. He only sat in front of an old television, staring at the screen like a wolf whose spine had been broken. On the screen, the Moretti family anniversary gala was being broadcast live.
Dorian stood at the center of the hall in a custom black suit, and beside him stood me. I wore a red dress as bold as fire.
Everyone lowered their heads when I passed. That night, after the gala, Dorian took me to the terrace. The city lights spread beneath us like a river of stars. He hugged me from behind.
I touched one of his fox ears and smiled. People still say you rose because you married the mafia princess.
Let them talk. If marrying my queen makes me a useless fox forever, I'll take it.
I looked up at the night sky and smiled. For 18 years, I thought Rowan was my way home. Now I knew better. He was only the storm I had survived. And in Dorian's arms, I finally found my true return.